Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a deeply embedded, kind of invisible framework that governs, well, our entire modern society. We're talking about our fundamental understanding of value, wealth, and human potential. Okay, let's dive into this, because we're about to unravel some core philosophical assumptions that most of us have literally never thought to question.
So here's a simple yet profoundly true idea. Almost everything we believe about money was learned. Think about it. None of us were born believing that, colored pieces of paper or metal coins or just glowing numbers on a bank screen actually possessed any special inherent power, right? As kids, we didn't naturally revere these objects. We learned what money was by watching the adults around us. We'd listen to their stressed-out conversations, absorb their daily worries, celebrate their financial successes, and gradually, almost like by osmosis, we inherited their beliefs. Long before we had any real grasp of economics or finance, we'd already accepted this very particular, highly constructed way of thinking about money.
Section 1. The Money Illusion, a Cultural Matrix.
From our earliest years, this standard blueprint for a successful life is just drilled into us. You know the drill. Study hard to get a good job, find secure employment, earn a good salary, save money, build wealth, retire comfortably. But notice what's sitting right at the center of every single one of those ambitions. It's money. Very seldom does our culture actually encourage us to think first about becoming truly useful, developing our unique talents, or finding meaningful ways to contribute to our communities. Instead, money becomes the main objective, and our actual skills and contributions, they just become the vehicle to get it. We end up measuring success not by what we create, but by what we accumulate.
So the crucial point is this. Money was never intended to be the destination. We've basically suffered the tragedy of turning the symbol into the goal itself. Look, money was simply created as a tool, right? Just a handy measuring device to help people exchange goods and services. It's kind of like staring at the scoreboard instead of actually playing the game. But somewhere along the historical timeline, we stopped seeing it as a measuring tape and started treating it as the actual thing of value. We completely mistook the map for the territory.
Section 2. The True Source of Wealth, Redefining Value.
Okay, I want you to consider this quick thought experiment. If every bank just disappeared tomorrow, would people's abilities disappear with them? Like, would farmers suddenly forget how to plant seeds and harvest food? Would builders lose all their knowledge of how to construct a sturdy home? Would doctors forget how to heal or teachers forget how to teach? Of course not. Human abilities, the real drivers of our world, would remain entirely intact.
We often talk about money as if it's this physical force of nature, like water or electricity. But the stark reality is this: money cannot feed anyone. Money cannot build a house. Money cannot repair a leaking roof. Money cannot comfort a frightened child, and money cannot care for an elderly neighbor. No matter how much colored paper or digital data you pile up, by itself it's completely inert. It is absolutely incapable of performing a single useful action.
Only people can do these things. And that's the punchline here. Every single useful thing in our lives begins inside a human being. Every meal cooked, every bicycle repaired, every piece of software coded, every garden planted, it all originates in someone's imagination, knowledge, and effort. Money contributes absolutely none of those things. It simply records a part of the exchange that happens afterward. It is not a substance that exists independently of human activity.
And that brings us to a desperately needed redefinition of wealth. True wealth isn't a bunch of accumulated numbers in an offshore account. Wealth is human capability. It's imagination, knowledge, experience, and effort. Those are the true origins of all economic activity. Money itself is not wealth. It's merely a claim upon the actual wealth that has already been created by real human beings. When we forget this distinction, we start, just chasing money instead of recognizing our own skills and creativity.
Section 3. The Cost of Chasing Money, the Hidden Cost. Modern society offers us countless ways to get our hands on money, right? Speculating, borrowing, lending, trading crypto, buying lottery tickets. Entire industries are built entirely around teaching people one thing: how can I make more money? But honestly, this is a massive distraction. The essential question, the one we rarely ever ask, is how can I become more useful? How can I solve more problems? How can I serve more people? Acquiring money has somehow become the game, while actually creating value has been pushed way into the background.
The consequences of detaching money from real contribution are pretty severe. We've developed this deep admiration for money working for you. We celebrate passive income. And because of this, physical work and productive hands-on effort are slowly regarded as, inferior ways of earning a living. Now, don't get me wrong, passive income or early retirement aren't inherently evil.
But celebrating them reinforces a really harmful societal ideal, the idea that the perfect life is one where your income is completely detached from any meaningful contribution to your community. As a result, millions end up in jobs serving only a paycheck, entirely disconnected from any sense of purpose.
But here's the grounding reality we can never escape. Someone still has to design the bridge. Someone still has to grow the food. Someone still has to write the software and care for the sick. Every single financial system out there, no matter how complex or abstracted it gets, rests entirely on the foundation of millions of people quietly applying their real, tangible abilities every single day.
Section 4. Where money comes from. Unveiling the system. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it pulls back the curtain on something most of us take for granted.
It's honestly mind-blowing that most people complete their entire education without ever learning this basic fact. The myth is that money is this force of nature, or maybe a public resource created by governments. But the reality? Modern money is primarily a commercial product created through the private banking system. It's literally a financial service provided by institutions operating as for-profit businesses. There's no grand mystery here. It's just a technology, a tool managed by businesses seeking a profit. And once we see money not as the absolute foundation of civilization, but as just one particular commercial technology for organizing exchange, wow, entirely new possibilities open up.
Section 5. Embracing exchange consciousness. A new focus.
A brilliant example of this shift in action is the Community Exchange System, or CES. A CES begins not with money, but with people. It starts from the fundamental understanding that every single person possesses abilities that others value. So instead of agonizing over how can I get more money, the system encourages a much better question. What can I contribute? It completely removes money as the gatekeeper. This allows exchange to directly build relationships, trust, and cooperation, rather than forcing everyone to constantly compete for a scarce, bank-created commodity.
And this brilliantly illustrates that human flourishing depends on the enduring principle of exchange, not on any single tool. Modern money is just one way of organizing exchange. There's also mutual credit, time banking, gift economies, reciprocity, barter, sharing, lending, the list goes on. Human beings exchanged favors, gifts, and resources based on trust and reciprocity long before coins were ever minted. The tools can change, but the core principle endures. Communities thrive when human beings exchange their talents.
So to summarize this massive paradigm shift, money consciousness tricks us into believing that wealth is outside of us, locked away in banks or markets, just waiting to be acquired. Exchange consciousness, on the other hand, wakes us up to the reality that wealth actually begins within. It lives in our talents, our experiences, and our genuine willingness to help one another. Sure, money might sometimes facilitate the process, but it's human relationships and capacities that actually create all prosperity.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful question. One that shifts our attention away from dependency and toward true capability. Look inward and ask yourself, what gifts do you possess that other people genuinely need? Think about that for a second. Because when we finally stop chasing the measuring stick and start sharing what we can actually build, that is when a truly resilient, humane economy begins.